The great tzaddik of Yerushalayim, Reb Aryeh Levin Zicher Tzaddik Levracha, once told a story about what he witnessed with his own eyes when the Chafetz Chaim visited his town in Europe, in Lita. The Chafetz Chaim would go from town to town selling his Sfarim on Lashon Hara. And he came into Reb Aryeh Levin's town, and he walked into the shul, and he observed at the front of the shul by the Amud, by the Chazan, that as was the custom, there was a sign. It was the pasuk of Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Samid, that I place Hashem near me at all times. That's what the Chazan should have in mind when the reverence, the sense of reverence, when about to daven and lead the tzibur. So the Chafetz Chaim writes in the Mishnah Berurah that one has to be very careful with such a sign, because it was the custom, still is the custom, to light candles right by where the Chazan stands. And the fumes from the candles, the smoke from the candles, could cause the Shem Hashem, the name of Hashem, to chas v'shalom be wiped out in some fashion. So the Chafetz Chaim writes that one should put a piece of glass in front of that pasuk on the Amud. So the Chafetz Chaim walked into the shul and sees this, then he walks over to the Gabbai and he says to the Gabbai, should really be a piece of glass in front so that Hashem is not erased. And the Gabbai says, I know, but the Rosh HaKol, meaning the person who runs the community, the person who runs the shul, won't allow it. And Rav Aryeh Levin says he saw the Chafetz Chaim at that moment. As soon as the Gabbai started blaming someone else, the Chafetz Chaim left his Svarim. He got up and he said, Lashon Hara, Lashon Hara. And instead of selling his Svarim, he just left them there, perhaps for the Gabbai and others to learn. And he walked out of the community and he didn't return. And for Reb Aryeh Levin, this was a tremendous lesson that shook him to his core. He said, in his bones, to see the Chafetz Chaim's reaction when somebody else was blamed. Now, for us, practically, Lashon Hara is something that we don't do a good enough job at. There are lives that are literally ruined by things that we say about other people. Sometimes we don't even intend to say something bad, and it comes out a certain way, or it's taken a certain way, and we need to take action, as we're told in our Parshas Kedoshim of Lo Selech Rachil Be'amecha. We have to be so very careful about not spreading word about others. Yes, there are situations where it is permissible l'to'eles for a certain reason to say something, but that is a situation that needs to have Eitzah, has to have advice from a Rav who could say, yes, it's mutter. Otherwise, we could cause tremendous damage to somebody else's life, and we can cause tremendous damage to ourselves. May we be zoche not only to learn from the Chafetz Chaim and his svarim about Shemiras Halashon, but also to learn from the impact of such a story that it had with Reb Aryeh Levin, and that it should have an impact on us also, to just hesitate a little bit more before something comes out of our mouth that we may regret. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.